What's going on, guys? This is John, the Wolf of Ecom, and I wanted to break down my top tips for what I believe could be the typical reasons why you're not getting the results you want with your Facebook ads or the product you're testing, scaling, whatever it may be. Okay, and these are all coming from experience, from years of doing this, from millions of dollars in sales, from hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend. So I'm super excited to be able to pass this on to you so that you can take it and use it and save yourself time, energy, and money. And before I get diving into the content, all right, I just want to mention we just launched our 4-day startup challenge for people that are either just getting into e-com and dropshipping or that have been in for a while but are struggling to get results or get consistency. Okay, so we break down everything you need to know, from how to build a store that converts, how to find products that you believe will sell, and how to identify them, and also how to test and scale with Facebook ads. So really great deal at a fraction of the cost you're gonna pay for all the gurus courses out there. So go ahead and click the link you see with this video to take action on that now, okay? Now let's go ahead and talk about it, okay? So the first thing is just not being patient, right? Because it's so easy when we're not getting results to have a tendency to, we wake up, we look at our ads manager, we look at our store, we see that we lost money or whatever it may be. Things just aren't working amazing like we would love for them to. And we're finding that we're maybe losing money, break even, or whatever it may be, right? And usually this is just, we need to give things more time from what I found, okay? So just to tell you a quick story, I would always, chat with my buddies that have been doing this as long as I have, and they'll tell me how amazing their results are and stuff, and this is years ago, and I'd be like, man, why don't I get these kinds of results? Maybe I just need to launch new campaigns. They would give me one piece of the puzzle, right? And I would use that. I remember for a long period of time, I would constantly be launching new campaigns, okay? And every now and then you will get a product that you can literally throw anything at and it will stick. It's right. You can launch 10 new campaigns and 8 of them will do well. That's rare, that's a golden goose, it's not typical. What you should expect is that maybe you launch 1 or 2 or 3 campaigns and you have rocky results up and down the first day or two, like with CBOs, which is what we show how to use in our 4-day startup and with our VIP members. And then after 2 to 3 days, then things start to actually normalize and stabilize. So this was one of the biggest mistakes I made, is that I just didn't give things enough time. I would constantly be in this launching loop, right? So I would see a good day, great, wake up the next day, expect the same result, it didn't come, or it was slower, or I lost money, and then I think, okay, I just need to try something new and launch and launch and launch. But it's really a combination of time occurring and also money being spent, right? And I've talked about this in other videos. I believe you have to let your campaigns cook, okay? If you give them time, they will give you results. Obviously, this depends on tons of other factors. I wouldn't just recommend blindly spending money unless you've seen early indicators and have validated the product, which is my second point. Maybe you haven't validated the product, all right? And this is something that happens a lot of times. People just keep trying to push something that they never really saw results coming or sales coming in with, or they have terrible top of funnel numbers. Top of funnel being the CPMs, the CPC, right? How much they pay to get someone to click on the ad to go to the site, and then also the percentage of people that see the ad and click on the site. If you don't have strong numbers up front, let's say you're paying $5 a click and you're selling something for 20-30 bucks, okay, it's gonna be super hard for you to turn a profit unless they're buying 5 of them every time they buy, and if half of your traffic or a third of your traffic makes a purchase, which is just not gonna happen, right? That would be maybe if you're like Kylie Jenner slinging stuff on your Instagram, right? Then you might get some of that kind of conversion, but even still, I don't know numbers. I might just be making this up. You get the idea though. It's extreme. It's not practical for dropshipping and e-commerce, okay? We show you how to do this in several YouTube videos in our 4-day launch, you name it, right? So we put this information out there. We typically start with creative testing, then we move into interest testing, and then we decide not to continue in scale or do some things in between, maybe lookalikes or additional interests, okay? Now, once the product has been validated, then you want to scale and you go kind of hard, which brings me to my next point. Not every product can be scaled to 50K a day. You will get your golden gooses, which can absolutely do that. Brands are going to be in their own category with this, so we're not going to. This is strictly you as a general store, or even maybe a brand and niche store, not a real brand where you have an established following, repeat business, right? So every product's gonna have a cap in the scalability, right? So the amount you can scale that product to where you still turn a profit, okay? Because sometimes, let's say you're selling something at 5K a day, you're spending $2,500, so you're getting $2 for every dollar you spend, right? Which is pretty good, okay, depending on your other numbers, but generally speaking, you typically can't always go from spending $2,500 a day to 5K a day, and then your sales go from 5 to 10K. It's just not how it usually plays out, right? Some products will, do not get me wrong, but for the most part, you cannot just Facebook ads products into working, right? It has to be a good product, it has to have a market reach, and it has to also have strong creatives, good copy, and all the other things, okay? But the point is, doubling your spend, tripling your spend is not gonna double or triple the same results and same margin that you've been getting, okay? Now, the last two things kind of go hand in hand. Any business, there's going to be inconsistencies, right? So never are you going to see growth just like this unless maybe you're Amazon, right? Which, if you look at the trend, the year has actually, the last 5 to 10 years has actually just been a freaking rocket ship taking off. Man, I wish I bought Amazon stock back in 2010 or whenever their IPO was. You would be sitting on a pretty pile of cash right now. But besides the point, you are not going to see just straight growth, right? Golden Goose product does come along once in a blue moon, okay, where it scales very easy and it scales aggressively and it's super, like, anything sticks. But generally speaking, you want the good product. Here's some things you have to keep in mind. We're selling to human beings, right? Human beings are gonna have good days, they're gonna have bad days. Maybe their kids are driving them crazy, maybe their spouse is cheating on them, right? Maybe they just got married. Okay, a lot of highs and lows are going to be occurring in their lives. So as great of a job as Facebook does, or we hope so, at putting us in front of our perfect customer to hopefully catch their attention at the right time. Remember, they're not looking for what we have to sell necessarily. We're presenting it in front of them. It's like, you know, they're touring around Rome, right? And they're walking down one of the streets with all the restaurants, and you just happen to be a restaurant on that street, and you're stepping out and putting a sample platter right in front of them. That's kind of what Facebook is like, except they may not even be on the restaurant street. Maybe you're just doing it on a random busy street, okay? Because that would probably be more accurate. Google would be more closer to walking down the restaurant street, but you get the idea. You're putting it in front of them, so there's no initial intent. They weren't actually actively looking for what you necessarily have to offer. Maybe they were interested in it, or maybe they were thinking about it, or maybe you're retargeting them from Google. But the point is that Facebook, people are not going to the search at the top and searching for like cosmetics and stuff as much unless they're looking to buy it, right? Then and there. So keep all these factors in your mind, okay? Because they all do make a difference, okay? So don't get hard on yourself when you're not getting consistent results. No business is going to see just straight growth. Like I said, like I own a brick and mortar gym, for example, and you know, some days we do several $1,000s in sales, but to expect that day in, day out, we could scale up to that and change our model maybe so we see a higher volume. But generally speaking, with how they're structured right now, it just wouldn't be fair to expect to see those kinds of numbers every single day, 7 days a week, and then constant growth on top of that, okay? So keep all those things in mind, and remember, like I mentioned, we just launched our 4-day startup program, which is going to help you to create a store that converts, okay? Find products that I, in my opinion, believe would sell. I'll show you what I do, and then also test and scale those things with Facebook. We're gonna give it to you at a fraction of cost, okay? Go ahead and check it out with the link. It's gonna cost way less than these overpriced, outdated Facebook ads courses, and it's exactly the bread and butter, the nuts and bolts of what I do to use in my own stores and teach my VIP students as well. So put that to use, guys. I hope this has had a positive impact. Drop any questions you have in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe if you got some value from this as well. I'll see you in the next video.